viewers, today I can say that the United States President, Donald Trump, truly deserves a Nobel Prize. Because if anything, his frequent tantrums and tariff threats have managed to bring together countries who would not have been on the same side just weeks ago. India and China. I will tell you how. First, let me tell you about how Prime Minister Narendra Modi's first response to US President's 50% tariff warning to India, undeterred and unfazed, India has made it clear. There will be no compromise over the interests of our farmers, fishermen and livestock rearers. In fact, in a strong expression of commitment, Prime Minister said he knows he might even have to personally pay a heavy price, but he is ready for that. This resolve may soon come handy because Trump has said there might be more in the offing. In terms of secondary sanctions, India is ready. It is rallying support with Russia and China. NSA Ajit Doval, who is in Moscow, has announced that President Putin will be visiting India soon. Prime Minister Modi is likely to visit China for the SCO summit end of this month, where he is also expected to hold a bilateral meeting with President of China, Xi Jinping. Even Chinese government's mouthpiece is now writing in favor of India, calling it a victim of American bullying tactics, forced to pay the price of disobedience. Now, this newfound bonhomie between India and China can be credited to Trump. But with Modi's deft diplomacy be recognized by the opposition? That's the question.
भारत अपने किसानों के, पशुपालकों के और मछुआरे भाई बहनों के हितों के साथ समझौता नहीं करेगा.
Why are you singling India out for these additional sanctions?
It's only been 8 hours. You're going to see a lot more. You're going to see so much secondary sanctions. Yes, ma'am.
और मैं जानता हूं व्यक्तिगत रूप से मुझे बहुत बड़ी कीमत चुकानी पड़ेगी, लेकिन मैं इसके लिए तैयार हूं.
भारतीय जनता.
You're watching the News Hour at 9, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Going straight across to the debate with Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha, should we thank Trump for actually bringing together India and China, who've had a little bit of a turbulent relationship over the past few years?
Well, Navika, one quick point firstly to address your question, that the BJP and the entire right-wing ecosystem is now so desperate that the other day they were very paranoid and very anti-China because everyone knows that Pakistan did not fight the war against India or the military confrontation against India and Operation Sindoor on its own. It had the support of China. And now because Mr. Modi is going to the SCO, by the way, where we became members in 2017, in fact, Russia and China are the founders of the SCO. And now the BJP and its supporters are feeling very thrilled about it, tells you how India has been diplomatically isolated. And one example that a lot of people are not aware, India's public humiliation is now complete. When you have a US senator, a Republican who's very close to Donald Trump, using the kind of language that he did, and I'll quote him, "We're going to tear the hell out of you and ruin your economy." He's calling India buying cheap oil from Russia as blood money, and the fact that we are financing
you seem to be taking great pleasure in that, climb down that is being happening for India. You seem to be having great fun repeating those lines just because it gives you an opportunity to slam the foreign policy of the Modi Sarkar. So you're not missing that opportunity. But Harsh Gupta, he's an investor and an author, so I want to get his point of view on this. Do you think in a dynamic world like the one we are living in right now, anything can be stagnant and stationary? Yes, a new situation has developed. America is behaving as a bully. Recalibration is happening as we speak. Is this really a failure of foreign policy or just adjusting to the changing times?
Navika, thank you for having me. I'd simply say that the idea that India has gone from, quote, somebody's lap to, quote, somebody else's lap is completely untrue. Even as we take on Trump's bullying and, Prime Minister is likely to have a call with the Brazilian president, Ajit Doval was in Russia, there is the SCO meet in China. Let's remember India and Philippines just signed a strategic partnership. And the Chinese were not very happy about the strategic partnership being signed at all, which had a very strong security and defense component. So if India is going to SCO, it's not going to SCO humbled and having already conceded all Chinese points. Not at all. Literally, the Chinese just objected today to India and Philippines doing a defense exercise in the South China Sea. So this is literally the definition of being a pole as a country in a multipolar world. True, the Indian pole needs to be a stronger pole going forward, but India has shown its viability as a pole of its own standing. So this idea that, we went from one failure to another failure, conceding here, conceding there, no, the Prime Minister is very clear. India is not conceding to any bullying on trade. And, the acronym TACO, Trump always chickens out. I think the markets, for example, you mentioned about the financial market aspect. The markets are calculating very clearly that, anyway, the extra 25% is likely to kick in after 21 days. And there is a lot happening in the while. I mean, Steve Witkoff was in Moscow. They expect some kind of deal to happen. But irrespective of that, let us say the US just continue. All estimates show about 40 basis points. Growth goes from 6.5 to 6% at most. And what does the US lose? The US loses the entire foreign policy of the last 25 years. If you have Russia, India, and China on one side, you lose the world island of Eurasia, and you lose the superpower tax. So it's the
absolutely. It's not just that we have to talk about India's losses, but we also have to look at the real world situation, and US isn't gaining much either, except a bully and a bull in the China shop. But Sudhanshu Trivedi, how can India be stronger? How does it plan to move forward? Are we really going to read the Riot Act to President Trump? Are we at that stage, or are we still going to pussyfoot? Those are some of the questions that are coming up. Can you respond to some of those questions that many people, many businessmen are today asking?
First, today is the day on which opposition should unconditionally apologize to Indian people, because they were claiming that India-Pakistan's so-called ceasefire is being brought at the cost of a deal by Trump. So if the deal would have been there, then the situation would not have been there. So your blatant lie has been unequivocally exposed or categorically exposed by whatever has happened today. Now, I would like to ask another question. A very learned person like Mr. Sanjay Jha and Vivek Srivastava is there. Can they name a single country which has not faced tariff by Trump? Not only the opponents. Their closest allies, like Japan, was forced to open its agriculture market for rice, but Prime Minister Modi has refused that we will not open the market for agriculture, whether it is the European Union, whether it is Canada. Second thing, can you tell any single war which is going on, and Trump has not claimed that he has brought ceasefire from Cambodia, Thailand, to Russia, Ukraine, to Israel and Iran. तो मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं साहब, पूरी दुनिया में भूकंप आ रहा है, आप कह रहे हैं घर हिल क्यों रहा है? उनसे कहो देखो जमीन हिल रही है। नहीं, जमीन से मतलब नहीं है, ये घर क्यों हिल रहा है? ये दुनिया में सुनामी आई हुई है, इससे मतलब नहीं है। मेरा जहाज क्यों हिल रहा है? जहाज के कैप्टन को दोष दो, ये हकीकत है। But be rest assured, as 30 years back, America brought WTO not to make India and China a strong economic power. They were thinking that their companies will exploit the big markets of countries like India and China, and they will become more stronger, and the situation has become in such a way that now they are saying make America great again, तो great नहीं रह गया। वैसे ही multipolar world में क्या होने वाला? One sentence I would like to quote Navika ji. After the fall of USSR, there was an American writer whose name was Francis Fukuyama. He has written a book, End of the History and the Last Man, in which he has claimed that now it is being proved that West is the best and it is best for the rest to follow the West. Now everything is finished. colonization lasted for 200
Absolutely.
years.
And every
Communism
country
lasted
is
for
going
less
to
than
play to
75
its
years.
advantage.
And
I'm very short of time, so 30 seconds, Vivek Srivastava. Where is your problem? You should be proud of the Prime Minister not buckling under pressure and not giving up the interests of our own farmers and our dairy as well as our livestock sectors.
एक minute. I'll just add to what Sanjay Jha said. Prime Minister Modi should understand China and Russia are not immature nations. कि वहां पे 50% टैरिफ लगा, आप दौड़े गए तो उन्होंने आपको गले लगा लिया. ये अब की बार शी जिनपिंग सरकार नहीं चलेगा. You better be serious about what you are talking of. और अब आप बताइए, राजीव गांधी फाउंडेशन में पैसा, कांग्रेस पार्टी का MOU, विवेक श्रीवास्तव, चाइनीज एजेंट, सारी की सारी पार्टियां जो है ऑपोजिशन की मिलकर के देश तोड़ने जा रही है. ये जो आपका नैरेटिव था, आज कहां है? कहां है आज? हम गलवान से लड़ रहे हैं विवेक श्रीवास्तव और आप चाइना से दोस्ती की बात कर रहे हैं. कहां है सुधांशु त्रिवेदी आपका नैरेटिव? कहां गया वो नैरेटिव? ये चाइना इज नंबर 1. वेयर इज इट?
आज आपको ये नैरेटिव देखना चाहिए. ये नैरेटिव है ग्लोबल टाइम्स का जो नॉर्मली भारत को गाली देता था, आज कह रहा है कि यूएस ने
2000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर कब्जा किया. कहां आपने पढ़ा?
सुधांशु जी, मागा प्लस मीगा इज इक्वल टू मेगा, ये किसने कहा था भैया? मागा प्लस मीगा इज इक्वल टू मेगा, किसने कहा था ये?
Miga is going to be over and above MAGA.
नहीं, ये मागा प्लस मीगा इसने कहा
था. ये मागा रह गए. I'm sorry, the scientist is completely out of this acronym war that is happening here. But Anand Ranganathan, I have very little time, 20 seconds.
20 seconds में, I just tell you this. We don't need to manage Trump. We just need to manage our books and Trump will get managed automatically. 5 things that we must do immediately. Number 1, we must negotiate. Not with USA, but with Russia for an increase in the current discount of 7% that we are getting on Russian oil. In fact, Navika, if we get the kind of discount for the next year that we were getting from Russia 2 years ago, 24 to 30%, we would totally offset the hit that we expect through these 50% Trump tariffs slated to be 0.3% of GDP by Goldman Sachs. This is the simplest and the easiest way to counter these unjust tariffs. Start with it.
Absolutely, I agree with you. And, this can also be seen as a charge for advertising Russian oil as well as, how cheap they are. Certainly, Russia should accept that some discounts are in order. It all makes sense because somewhere or the other, the Banya Bahi Khata is open in India, and we'll figure out a way to even make some profits out of this because we have full hopes on the Indian resilience. I'm a die-hard optimist. I don't know about the Congress party and the opposition, but every challenge brings an opportunity. It's that opportunity that we have to look for now. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on the News Hour. Good night, be safe. I'll be back tomorrow with the News Hour Spotlight.